What is up, guys? We are back with week dos, which, if you don't speak very fluent Spanish, such as moi, which is French. Anyway, it means week 2. We are back with week 2, and we are going over 50 Shades Darker, which is, what do you call the second book in a trilogy? Does anybody know? I don't know. It's the second book of 50 Shades of Grey. And guess what? It's even more rowdy than the first one. So get ready, because we're about to rock your world.
Gonna make it happen.
A lot of people, and I've watched the videos, have talked about how degrading this book is to women. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Let's start with one. It's make-believe. It's not true. So if you don't want it to be feminist, don't take it that way. That is your own mindful decision. There are so many degradeful things out there to women, from the way girls dress these days, to the way they talk, the way they allow boys to call them things, to the things that are on the radio, to the things that are on the TV. Don't let your own make-believe world be trampled with it. Do yourself a favor and just take it what the frick it is, and it's a book. Enjoy it. 2. Okay. What girl doesn't have a fantasy, I'll choose my words very carefully, a fantasy about just a dominating man? I do. I'll be the first one to admit it. There is something wired in a woman's DNA that just appreciates a man, being assertive, being a decision maker, just being a strong, independent man, and telling you what you should and should not do. Do I think a man should really do that all the time? No. Do I think sometimes it would be nice just to sit back and be appreciated as a woman? Yes. And that's all that this is. So don't listen to the hype. Don't worry about it, and don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to hate this book from the start because it's chauvinistic. It's not. It's just a book. I promise you. You can turn on the TV, turn on the radio, hell, turn on your Xbox, and you will find things that are 10 times worse than this. I feel in my heart that the appropriate way to catch up for where we left off from 50 Shades to Grey is to do a little enactment for you. And I feel like it's so spot on that I probably deserve like an Academy Award, an Emmy, something of that nature for this performance. So please sit back, get your popcorn, and enjoy, because I'm about to knock your socks off. Oh, but Anastasia, you can totally sign this non-disclosure act and it'll be fine. You will just go into the Red Room of Pain and I'm going to spank you and stick things where they shouldn't be stuck, and you're going to love it. Oh, but Christian, I'll try, because without you, I just don't know what I do. Okay, well, bend over, baby. I'm about to rock your world. Side note, he actually never says rock your world. That's called improvising. Okay, Christian, I'll try for you, because, well, you're a billionaire, and it'd be kind of an idiot not to just try, because you're also gorgeous, and I'm sure there are a million boys out there like you, but I'm just a lonely virgin. What do I know? Okay, I'm going to spank you now, and I need you to count them out as I spank you really hard. But remember, it's spanking, so it's kind of supposed to hurt. Oh, Christian, this spanking, like, really, really hurts. And I didn't know that, well, spanking would hurt, like, this much. So, I can't do this anymore, Christian. I just can't do this. And goodbye. And there you go. We are left with a squalid Anastasia, leaving in an elevator away from our dear, dear beloved Christian Grey. And as awesome as my acting is, I promise that did no justice for the book. It's really good, and that's why you're watching the second one. So, with that left, we're going to pick up with this, and I promise you, it's amazing. It's just as good as the first one. And if you haven't read the first one, stop what you're doing, stop watching this video, go to this sidebar, or maybe it's this sidebar, it's definitely like one of the two, and go to week 1 and watch that video, because this is spoiler alert, spoiler alert. And I don't want you to be like pissed at me because I haven't finished reading the book yet. So stop and go this way or that way, or continue, because there's not very many other options. So after jumping into this book, I begin to see the Bella and Anastasia similarities from Twilight, like, immediately. And thanks to y'all and all like the really cool comments you left me, I learned that this series actually started as a Twilight fan fiction. So no wonder it resembles one another, and no wonder I loved it so much, because I am a twihard through and through. So it opens up very similar with Anastasia in this really dark place. She is at work at her new publishing job with SIP, and she is just lost without Christian. 100% depressed. I've lost bunches of weight. Girls, you know how it is when you break up with someone. And she is just in this horrible state of mind, which kind of threw me off for like half a second, because I mean, this girl's known him for like, what, 2 weeks, and he did just spank her in a red room of pain, and she's a little surprised that maybe this isn't for her. But, of course, brush it off, and I kept going, and I'm glad I did, because it just kept getting better and better. You have to give it a chance. It is sometimes a little, okay, we can get with the program, but once it picks up, it really, really picks up. So if you're one of those people who are like, this is just too similar, I promise, get past like the first 2 chapters, and it's going to get better, a lot better. You're not going to be able to put it down. So we're depressed, we're sitting at work twiddling our thumbs, and we remember we're supposed to go to our BFF's show, picture show. He's a photographer, Jose's, and oh, wait a minute, I let Christian steal my car, and I have no way to get around, because I told him I did not want to be his submissive anymore, and I had to give back my subspecial Audi. What girl gives back an Audi, right? So she has to wait and wait and wait, and she's thinking about it, and Christian pops up a little email on her work that says, I would still like to be your date, and I'd like to fly you in Charlie Tango. And Charlie Tango is, of course, his private helicopter, and she gives into it. I mean, who's not going to give into that beautiful, beautiful man? Yeah, nobody. And another thing that's not going to go away as you read these books is the biting lip. In fact, it's referenced like probably every chapter, and through every chapter it's referenced like 6 times, and it's Christian's favorite thing that Anastasia does, and it's just her biting her lip. And so I keep doing it all day, kind of hoping that he's just going to come tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey girl, I want to bite that lip. I just sit here all day thinking that maybe, just maybe, if I put it that way, or that way, that Christian's just going to show up, and yet I must not be doing it right. That girl must have something going on, because my Christian ain't showed up. I'm still broke. I'm still waiting for my man. But that said, do your own bite-letting trip. Maybe it works for you. The cool thing that we get to learn in this book is we finally get to see a little bit of Christian's past, and we understand exactly what has got him 50 Shades of messed up. And we learn a lot about Miss Robinson, quote-unquote, yes, from the movie The Graduate, and we learn a lot about his ex, Leela, who was a submissive, so not really an ex, who looks a lot like Anastasia, and we find out the reason he hires all these platinum blonde girls is because he likes brunettes, because they remind him of his mother. So, yes, you've got it right. He likes to have sex with his mom. But not really, of course. I mean, he's just one of those people who are all kind of messed up. And we've learned that that's because his mom was a crack whore, and she died in front of him when he was 4, and one of her pimps did not like him and would put out his cigarettes in Ashton's skin and left the scars down his chest. And that is why he has such issues with you touching him. And through this, we learn a little bit more, and there's all kind of things that happen in this book. That's not everything. We get to meet Flynn, and all kind of cool things happen, but I don't want to spoil every page for you. I mean, you're going to want to read this yourself. I'm just giving you the main points. Yes, this book was just as good as the first one, and yes, it was just as rowdy as the first one, if not a little rowdier. And so if you love the first one, keep reading them. We spoke last week, and my question was, who is your Christian Grey? I picture Matthew Bomber, I think is maybe how you pronounce his wife's name. I remember him from Chuck, but a lot of you remember him from White Collar, which is actually a really good show. I do watch that sometimes. However, a few of you told me, and I didn't even think about this guy, is Henry. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, and I don't want to torture it. Being an Alabama girl, I don't know that I would do it justice. So, a lot of you obviously remember him from Immortals, right? He's one of the main characters. However, I remember him from The Count of Monte Cristo, and he plays Albert, and who is the son of Guy Pearce, and Jim Caviezel's in that movie. And I did not even think of him, but he would actually be an awesome Christian Grey. Good job and good choices. So the only logical question, yeah, I just threw up this box sign, you saw that. The only logical question for this week is, who is your Anastasia? And a part of me doesn't want Anastasia to be a brunette. I actually think of her being a curly-headed ginger. I have a thing for gingers and I can't help it. And so I kind of just think that that's what she should be like, but it's not. So let's just say we stick strictly to the books. My choice actually is a Twilight girl. I would pick Anna Kendrick's, hands down. I think she's kind of awkward enough, but yet pretty enough, and I feel like that innocent face, she could pull off the siren look if she wanted to. I've seen her on the red carpet. She looks hot. She can hold her own. She looks intelligent. She looks like a good Anastasia to me. Tell me who you think would be a good Anastasia. Tell me if you finished the second book, if you're keeping up with me with one book a week, and tell me if you're as excited as I am to go to the next book. I am extremely excited to finish this book, and because for week 3, 50 Shades Freed, and I love this book so much that I was sitting by the pool. I've actually already gotten pages ripped out of it. I was bending the spine. I'm not very proud of myself. So if you got a Kindle, hey, there's a good reason to have one. Or a Nook, that works too. But until then, leave lots of comments, share this, let's all stay on track, and let's all prove our love for our darling, darling Christian. Until then, laters, baby.